They came at dawn, not the gentle dawn of a rising sun, but the cold, surgical gleam of orbital fire. Vesta Prime had been a quiet colony, a world of oceans and forests, settled by descendants of Earth's long diaspora. Generations had passed since they'd last seen the homeworld. To most of them, Earth was a myth, the birthplace of mankind, lost to history after the Great Exodus. They spoke of it like an old story, the cradle that gave birth to the species, then faded into legend. But on that morning, none of those stories mattered. The Corran Dominion descended without warning. Their ships, obsidian crescents armed with fusion lances, tore through the sky, shattering the orbital docks and burning through planetary shields that were meant for pirates, not fleets. The Corran commander, High Strategist Veltor, watched from orbit with idle satisfaction. On his view screen, the human defenses fell one by one. Fighters shattered, cities evaporated. He found it amusing that the humans screamed on open frequencies, begging for help that would never come. Primitive. Disconnected. Forgotten, Veltor said, leaning back in his throne of living metal. The humans cling to ruins, but the age of their reach is over. By the time his fleet departed, Vesta Prime was ash and glass, 40 million dead, the survivors enslaved. And in the ashes of the capital, a child found a burned data beacon, its cracked screen still blinking weakly. Signal relay, Solnet emergency, priority alpha. Transmitting. The child pressed the button. A signal left that world, weak, faint, but it reached the void, and someone answered. The Dominion's arrogance weeks passed. The Corran celebrated their victory as a lesson to the frontier species. Humanity's colonies, scattered across dozens of fringe systems, were weak and divided. They mined, they traded, but they did not fight. In the Council of Lords, Veltor stood before his peers, proud and cruel. They speak of ancient Earth as if it were a god, he sneered, holding up a fragment of a human flag scorched from the battlefield. But there is no god left in the void. Only dominion, only strength. Humanity had its era, and it ended when the stars forgot them. The chamber erupted in laughter. The Corran had fought the Sarathi, the Vryak, even the machine worlds of Halion. Humanity, to them, was a footnote. A race of settlers and merchants, the descendants of a bygone age of fire. Send word to their other colonies, a lesser lord said. Let them kneel. Offer tribute or we burn the next one. Tribute, Veltor smirked. No, let them send us stories. Their myths amuse me. And so, the Dominion continued. Raids, demands, broadcasts of mockery across the networks. The galaxy watched, some in sympathy, most in silence. Humanity's plea for justice echoed unanswered. The old empires remembered another time, when Earth's fleets had blackened the stars, when Terran legions had crushed the warlords of the Orion Arm. But that was millennia ago. Those fleets were gone, or so they believed. The whisper. Across the stars it began as a whisper. A low, almost mythical signal moving through forgotten relays and long-dead channels. The old encryption keys were unmistakable. No AI could counterfeit them. No civilization dared. The signal carried 6 words that froze every listening ship and station. This is Sol Command. Stand by. In the span of hours, deep space probes long considered derelict awoke. Transponders near the galactic core flashed active for the first time in 10,000 years. Defense networks thought extinct reconfigured themselves, silent and watchful. Then came the transmissions. Tight beam. Encrypted bursts that bypassed all modern intercept systems. No one knew who received them. But soon after, quiet human colonies that had once ignored their ancestral ties began locking down ports. Civilian ships were recalled. Merchant fleets disappeared into dark space. The Corran laughed again. Veltor watched the reports with amusement. The ghosts rise, he mocked. Do they think to frighten us with their myths? But across the border systems, something was moving. Ships, human ships, began vanishing into slip space corridors long forgotten. They didn't head for safety. They headed inward, toward the ancient coordinates of Sol, and the stars began to flicker with new lights. The old beacons relit. One by one, the silence before the storm, 3 months after the fall of Vesta Prime. A Corran patrol fleet picked up a strange anomaly at the edge of the Perseus Rift. A small station, no emissions, no life signs. The Corran captain, a brash warrior named Kareth Vel, ordered an approach. As they neared, the station came alive. One by one, lights burned to life along its hull. Stark white, unblinking. Identify yourself, Kareth Vel demanded. A voice responded. Calm, cold, Terran accent. Designation, Solnet Defense Node Alpha 7. Identification confirmed. You have trespassed into Terran defense perimeter, Kareth sneered. Earth is dust. There is no Terran perimeter, the voice paused. Then came a phrase not heard in the galaxy for 10,000 years. Perimeter breach confirmed. Countermeasure protocol. Dawn of return. The station's core detonated. Not an explosion, but a pulse. A spatial inversion wave erased the fleet in silence, folding space upon itself like paper. Kareth's last words were a whisper. Impossible. The Dominion lost an entire fleet. No wreckage, no signal, just absence. And across the Koran capital, systems began crashing under an unseen digital siege. Their archives were overwritten with one message, repeated endlessly. Earth remembers. The return of the legend, they came without warning. Out of the blackness of slipspace, massive silhouettes emerged, ships larger than anything the Koran had ever catalogued. Hulls of dark titanium carbon alloy, bristling with rail singularity cannons and graviton shields. Each bore a single insignia on its flank, a blue and white sphere ringed by laurel leaves, the symbol of United Terran Command. At the forefront was the TNS Leviathan, command dreadnought of the 12th Fleet. Its captain, Admiral Helena Voss, stared out over the Koran border world of Ardent 4, her expression unreadable. Set coordinates for bombardment grid, she ordered. No warnings. No surrender terms, her officers hesitated. Ma'am, they'll never believe. They don't have to, she interrupted. They'll understand soon enough. The first salvo cracked the crust of Ardent 4 like glass. Orbital defense rings melted. The planet's atmosphere burned away in a single sweep of plasma fire. Across the galaxy, the broadcasts began. Human channels flooding every known frequency. Not propaganda, not threats, just images. The burning ruins of Vesta Prime, the enslaved survivors, and then the Terran fleets returning from the void, and with it, a single transmission. This is Earth. We were forgotten. But legends never die. You wanted war. You will have silence. The galaxy trembled. The vengeance of Earth within weeks. The Dominion's border worlds fell. The Leviathan, Helios, Tartarus, and Vanguard spearheaded the Terran advance. Every battle was one-sided. Human ships moved with precision born of millennia of evolution. Their weapons older than the Dominion itself, yet far beyond its science. Koran fleets disintegrated before the Terran onslaught. Cities were leveled not out of rage, but principle. Each strike was surgical, deliberate, devoid of mercy. Admiral Voss issued only one decree. Every Koran world complicit in the massacre of Vesta Prime will burn. Every commander involved will be hunted. No plea will be heard. Veltor tried to rally the Dominion fleet. He assembled 300 ships over their capital world, Cor Athra, believing strength could still hold the line. When the Terrans arrived, they did not challenge. They simply appeared. Hundreds of dreadnoughts, carrier titans, and autonomous warforms blotting out the sun. The void itself seemed to bend around their mass. Veltor sent a transmission, desperate but defiant. Earth was dust. You were myths, he shouted. We rule this galaxy now. Admiral Voss appeared on his view screen, her image pale and ghost-like. Then let this myth end your rule. The Terran fleet opened fire. It was not a battle. It was execution. Every Dominion ship was annihilated in synchronized volleys of particle lances. Their capital shattered, its molten core exposed to the void. For 12 hours, the bombardment continued until nothing remained but a glowing scar where Cor Athra once spun. The last transmission from Veltor's flagship was a scream cut short by vacuum. And when the silence returned, humanity stood alone in the wreckage, victorious, implacable, unbroken, the weight of retribution. When the fires dimmed, the Terran fleets did not cheer. There was no triumph, only the hollow echo of justice fulfilled. On Vesta Prime, reconstruction began. Terran engineers walked the ash fields, raising the flags of the old world once more. Survivors wept as the blue of Earth flew again over their cities. Admiral Voss stood on the bridge of the Leviathan, gazing into the dark. Ma'am, her officer said quietly, the Dominion is finished. Orders? She paused, her voice cold and even. Send the message. Across every known channel, across every species network, across the whispering void between stars. The message of Earth played once, and only once. To those who would harm us, remember Vesta Prime. Remember what follows when you wake the legends. We are humanity, children of Earth. We are patient, but never powerless, and our vengeance has no end. After that, the transmissions ceased. The Terran fleets vanished back into the deep void. Their slipspace trails decayed into nothing. No one knew where they went. Some said back to Sol, others said deeper, to rebuild the old empire. But the galaxy remembered. The silence that follows centuries passed. The Dominion's ruins became memorials. New civilizations rose, whispering of the time the ghosts of Earth returned. Children in alien academies learned a lesson etched into every history text. Never strike at humanity. Never awaken Earth, because even now, on the edge of deep space, probes still record strange signals, encrypted transmissions bearing a single header, SolNet active. Some say they're just echoes, remnants of ancient code. But others believe Earth is still out there, watching, waiting, and when arrogance rises again in the stars, so will the legends, because they thought Earth forgotten, but legends always return.